Tuesday, the Public Safety Committee meeting to order. First, on the agenda, roll call.
Kevin,
Here.
Randy,
Here.
Doug,
Here.
Candace,
Here.
Tammy. She said she had a funeral to go to.
All right, pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We've only been doing it since kindergarten. I was like, what's going on? Everybody forgot the words.
Before public comment, I'd ask our committee to observe a moment of silence to remember the victims of the racist tragedy in Buffalo this weekend. Our country and community has no place for this hatred. Public comment. This is an opportunity for anyone to address the PSC on any issue. Please observe the time limit of 3 minutes, while the PSC encourages input from residents, may not discuss or act on any issue that is not duly noticed on the agenda.
Nope, we have no, and I didn't get anything via email or anything.
All right. Item 5, approval of minutes from the April 19th, 2022 meeting. Any discussion? I would entertain a motion. I move to accept. I got a motion, do I have a second?
One second.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion to approve the minutes from April 19th? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed say the same. Passage unanimous. Report of PSC officers. Chairperson, I have 2 quick items. The first thing I want to do is just hope that everyone had a chance to look at both the annual report and then that traffic study that went out. One of the things I like about both items, in addition to all the good work, community policing that our departments do, and Chief Tony, the traffic study, it gives us data. So there's a lot of emotion around a lot of things. I think the traffic safety report really showed that we kind of know where the pain points are in our village. And sometimes there's noise that is really just kind of neighborhood noise. And one of the things I'm looking forward to when we talk a little bit more about engaging the community is just kind of what can we do to engage our friends and neighbors in the public safety committee process in a positive way. So I like making data decisions, not emotional, upset people decisions. So I think that data is really good. Now, I just want to thank the Lions and the Chamber for what a successful, well-run event the Trailblazers weekend was. So great work. Any other PSC members like to make a comment?
Just to support that further back to the village, facilities, park and rec, obviously EMS, fire, and police on behalf of the chamber and the Lions as co-sponsors of Trail Days. Thanks to all those that participated and supported that event. It was a huge success this year.
I couldn't agree more. Beautiful weather helps. And everybody was ready to
Stars Alliance, yeah.
Great.
And actually, I will say something. Thank you to Tax Solutions and the Cross Plains Police Department. Barbados was definitely a good resource for all that day. I assume businesses and chamber members definitely agree with that.
Well, we appreciated it big time because we had no arrests and we had no crashes. So obviously it worked. And that was my thoughts.
And they were very hands-on from what I could see. They were very hands-on. And I would like to think that the residents and visitors of Trout Days and also Illinois would agree. But yes, that was a definite resource that we probably need to continue.
Mhm. For
There are
sure.
lots of people talking about making plans already for next year and making it an annual thing. People who haven't been back in a few years
Mhm.
really like the park, the music. everything like that.
Yeah, I thought, yeah, it was a good day.
Very good. So with that, I agree with you, Candace, as far as the Park Buddies out of stock goes. Maybe an agenda item that we could add for another meeting would be either leveraging that organization and or deciding if that's something we want to grassroots here or mirror here
Mhm.
with local
Yeah.
volunteers or other.
Yep. Sure.
Reports of first responders, Cross Plains area EMS chief.
She is off for a while. And she didn't send me anything. I'm sure she's busy.
Yeah.
With her own things.
Cross Plains fire chief.
All right, so we've had 35 calls for the year. That's actually what's documented. We had an incredibly busy week last week with 8 calls on its own. So those aren't documented yet, but 30 up to April or May 1st, 35 calls for the year, 15 of which are in the village. All the classes for METC classes have wrapped up. We had 4 in the fire 1 class, 5 in the fire 2, 11 in the driver operator. I reported that last month, but they have all passed their class. I added up the hours and just class hours alone between all those numbers, it's 1,160 hours of training just this semester. So that's just the actual documented class hours. It's not their practicing, that's not their homework, they're studying all that stuff. So and some of the members doubled it. They took fire 1 on Monday and then took driver operator on Tuesday night. So it's quite a commitment we've had this last semester, which is good to hear. It's great to have that kind of enthusiasm. On April 27th, we had all the PFAS foam of our trucks pumped out, and it's been replaced with a non-fluorine foam. So that got all taken care of and done. We will continue using, start training on the new foams, that kind of stuff, the concentrations. So, like I said, that's all green tier type foam, not the PFAS that we've been worried about, talking about for the last few years. So we're good to go there. The pricing for the pumping out and the replacement foam and equipment last month was projected, just as we were able to partner with 2 other departments for the pumping out, and then we got a bulk discount on the foam itself. So that is all I know.
Very good. Cross Plains police chief.
Our new hire is doing very well. He is in his final couple weeks of field training. I expect to have him in our rotation by the first week of June. I won't mention a name, but we have a officer that will be out of work for a while due to a personal issue that he has going on. So I will be taking over investigations, which is my plate's already full, which I don't know how the heck I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna have to make it work because we have 16 active investigations. So we're very, very busy right now. And that's pretty much all I have to report. It's just my plate just got a lot fuller due to medical situation that we've got going on. So
All right, on to committee discussion. Discussion on possible action regarding the neighborhood watch program. Do you want to start, Dennis, or if you want to pull that?
Yep.
Pull that one
I'll
up,
pull that.
or I can start too. It's up to you.
So you can start and then I can
Okay,
take back.
so
There we go.
there we go. So the idea is to engage more people in the safety process in a positive way. These are yard signs. I like the reminders. I think they can go a long way in engaging our family, friends, and community. I've liked the Noble May signs. I think have gone over well. But when we see and hear about break-ins in our community, they're usually opportunity. And normally people don't think about it or ask questions or do things until something happens to them. We want to be proactive. We want to be in front of it. We want common sense rules. That data that was shown where the crashes and things are. When we see people blow a stop sign or speeding, a lot of times it's our neighbors. And these are reminders and they have an impact on the safety program in our community. And what we're trying to do is engage them. I like everything about this sign. I think it's simple, it's to the point. The only kind of wordsmithing or thing I would add would be just to either add drive safely and obey the speed limit or drive safely and follow the speed limit.
Agreed.
And our plan is to have them printed and available for National Night Out, which is August 2nd. We don't want them going outside of the community. This is a Cross Plains, the Village of Cross Plains logos on there. We're trying to get a local sponsor, so we'll probably get a few all that night and have them available, but we'll take names and addresses and get donations. I think $10 is very reasonable to engage in the safety program.
I think, so yes, I think a $10 donation. And also, I think they should be double-sided. I agree with Doug on, I must have forgotten, drive safely at the speed limit. Yeah, I forgot a keyword here or there, but yes, obey, follow. Another, what I'm noticing, capture the good and send a picture to the chief of police. I like that because we want to also make sure that we're right, like we're being positive, and we want to see all the good that we're doing here in the community and our residents and neighbors. But then we probably need how, right? We need something else on that, or otherwise we need to bring it in so that.
Well, and not everything needs to be on the sign, so.
Right.
You know, I appreciate the staff and chief being engaged on Facebook. A lot of people are on social media. You know, I don't think we need an email address here or something like that, but I think we need to have a plan. And as we're getting stuff out, National Night Out, hey, Facebook is a great way. Chief's email is a great way.
Agreed.
So,
Okay, agreed.
you know, we can have some supporting stuff
Mhm.
with it. I don't know on the sponsorships, like if we would still like one or two to help with the pricing, or if we have the Village of Cross Plains as a logo, which I think is good.
I think, if, for my opinion, I think we stick with the logo of the village. And then we ask for $10 donations. If you'd like to put one in your yard, and then we take it from there.
And maybe it's as simple, because I know, so Latitude Graphics has done a lot
Yes.
to
and
support and help, and it might be worth having their logo on it too, where we're not asking them for money, but
100%. Yeah. And Latitude is the one I reached out to Zach at Latitude, and
because I don't think you want it too busy. You don't want it like a NASCAR where there's a McDonald's and a M&M and everything else. I think the Village of Cross Plains and maybe their logo. is fair.
and we can still, like, I like the main points, and we can still play around with it for a little bit, but if we're happy with it, other than, you know, looked at this logo, and then let's make sure we put in a, you know, more directive word, then that's fine too.
How big are these things?
Typical yard sign.
Yeah, like, yeah, they're,
Like a garage
4x6 or something.
yeah, they're not.
Like the
well,
campaign signs, the mold made signs,
right,
3x5 maybe. Oh, maybe that's too big.
I'm not sure. I can look at my email, but yeah, they're your standard size that we see, you know, we're not enlarging them by any means, but we also want to make sure that
You can read
we
them.
can read them, right? So we don't want too many words. So I personally agree and like the idea of debuting them National Night Out. That's when our community comes out. Even last summer, right? I thought we had a great turnout. So I think that is a good date, and then I can mess with it a little bit.
Okay.
The $10, that's for a business suggestion or individuals who would like one suggestion?
Individuals and families who would like one.
So if for some reason we gained more in the $10 donations than what Latitude is gonna charge us or not charge us, what would we do with it?
I would suggest it goes to the police department.
We're not allowed to take it though. And there's no account. We don't have access to any kind of outlay accounts. I've asked about that. So I had to, I mean, you could make it as part of, it's a fundraiser for the National Night Owl.
Okay,
Because we do have an account for National Night Out and we've had people donate stuff that's gone in there. But to simply have citizens donate to us, it really makes things ugly fast.
okay,
And you could just, I don't know, the intent is to order 500,
500.
you could to make it easy, instead of having a donation, okay, find out what they're charging us for 500, let's just say it's $100 and then ask for that specific donation to repay that, you know what I mean? So that it's cost for cost, rather than making money on them.
We weren't necessarily averse either to, so, somebody doesn't have to have that. I mean, we don't want.
Yeah, I think
Well, if you
the
did,
door should be open to get the signs out and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe we can see how much those costs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And then there's, there could always be an
we
organization.
can do
that
the
would donate.
donation towards that, yeah, we can handle that.
yeah, I mean, if you,
We want them in people's yards.
Then you-
And
then you-
supporting, yeah, the program.
because there might be people who are like, I don't want to pay you $10. I can let this, I don't, yeah, take one for free, that kind of thing.
mhm,
I mean, maybe we could get it. I think that's where the logo idea would come from, because you could easily say, we're partnering with this company who has paid for it. Like, for instance, Edward Jones,
right,
I partnered with them to do the identity theft / scam training at the library. So I'm providing the training and he's providing, the maybe food and organization and the venue. And so he's a partner, right? But he's not gaining anything from it except for publicity as a partner. So maybe you,
Do we have a rough idea of the budget of each sign?
I do. With the stakes and double sided, it's $675.
just,
So I think we should try and self-fund this thing and just come up with money.
I mean, 500 is a good number. I don't know if you can, I mean, you gotta think, if you get 500 out, that's gonna cover pretty much the whole village, because even if you don't get a sign, you're gonna drive past one. And and it's gonna remind you, oh, hey, make sure you shut down the doors.
And that's what we were originally thinking, when you look at the slide that says like space for sponsors. So we were originally thinking that, but we're definitely, of course, not trying to make money out. We just want to get them out.
We want to get them
into-
out and engage people. in
into
six-pack.
Maybe accept donations. Signs.
Yeah, or we could just say like you just said, maybe we accept donations.
problem
and
is-
there it is.
Who's gonna take the first hit, the $675 hit, and then replant, you know what I mean? So,
Well, it's $675, $6.75 per sign
yeah,
with the
So-
stake. So yes, so,
so you do the
So we're
math,
gonna
that's,
lay out the money. though.
uh-huh,
And
yeah, that's.
then someone's gonna start recouping. them.
Well, you think of 100 signs is gonna be $67 times 5, so it's, yeah, it's not cheap.
Yeah.
That's, I mean, that's a heck of a,
for 500, yes. For double sided, which I feel like we need double
I
sided.
agree.
We could start with 250. I mean, it's up to us. There's usually a break, how many you order. So usually up to 100 is a break, over up to 500 is a break, 1,000 is a break, kind of like when you do business cards or any kind of printing, so.
And it wouldn't be a problem, right, we can start off with less, it would not be a problem, especially right here in town. if we could request for more.
Mhm.
That wouldn't be, I don't think, an issue.
Yeah,
So something that's for us to
definitely. I mean,
I love the idea of it.
Well, Candace and I can do some work on the sponsorship.
Yeah.
Get to the next meeting and also wordsmith a little bit. I don't want it to get too busy. You know, I think, I don't want you to be able to read it and see it. We know, yeah. keep it
Yeah, keep
simple.
it simple, yeah.
We know that inattentive driving and people not locking their doors and most of the crime that happens is opportunity. So we want to stick to those things and, you know, insurance company, I can see being a good partner. Maybe one of the banks being a good partner, you know, whatever we can.
and then you could, I mean, then I would say put their logo on it because
Oh, sure.
they're paying for the signs, giving it back. They're giving back to the community is what they're doing.
And
Maybe you could.
if we don't, we can still have a donation thing out that goes to National Night Out because that's a great community event. You know, we
Right.
don't even have to have a suggested donation.
Right.
Just have it out. But I do want some kind of trigger that they have to be residents. You know, and, you know, certainly apartments and condos can have a tough place, and a lot of times condos won't let you put them there, so, you know, if the number's 250 or 500, I don't think that's as important in the first order. But we can look at where the breaks are too for quantities. And Rick's been super good to work with in this team, so.
Well, I think it's a good idea. Me personally, I wouldn't be able to go out and solicit sponsorships because of my position, but I mean, I think if we could get sponsors to, I think this would be great. This would be a great idea, but it's pricey. I mean, it's $3,300. It's not cheap. And I'd hate for them to sit. We would have to get them out and have people actually put them on.
Yeah, I don't know that that'll be super hard. There's a lot of people in our community do. There's pushing people on our community that will just stick them in people's yards.
Like here, I have a sign.
Rather
Yeah,
stick around with my neighbors.
well, especially if they're free, you know. Okay, so what, is there any,
I don't think we need to take action. Candace and I will bring it back to them.
okay, I'll bring it back. All right,
So if we do 250, it's less than $2,000, so we get $400 or $500 sponsors, maybe 300. That's doable.
Some auto and home insurance. And
Auto and home
State Farm
insurance.
might be some logical ones that.
yeah, insurance for sure, because
The banks, always good.
I like that. All right. Yeah,
Quick Trip's usually better about giving stuff,
Uh,
like milks and gift cards and stuff, but definitely an ask.
insurance.
Yeah.
All right.
okay, all right,
So we'll
I'll
bring
just keep
back
it
to
on the
that.
agenda and we'll bring it up in June. Okay,
Yeah, we'll be ready to order. And have a
And it
plan.
won't take long.
Yeah, we'll be ready to order and have a plan for national.
Yeah.
Update from chairperson regarding the PSC regarding the planning process from the new village hall police department. Couple things here. I don't know, chief, if you want to go first one.
no, you,
So we met with Jay, talked, you know, about our role. He has a steering committee that he's working closely with, and there's obviously the finance piece, staff piece where we'll be working specifically on office layout, stuff like that. I think we're gonna be more in kind of a consultant role, where they'll bring things to us or ask questions and come back to our committee. One of the things I know they would like is a letter of support regarding the new police, municipal building police station. I just did a real quick draft. Sure. I'll just read it real quick. It's super short and sweet. It's a draft letter of support regarding the municipal building and police station. It's to President Langfeld and Carmen Cotton Cross Plains Village Board. The Public Safety Committee strongly supports the need to replace our current village hall and police station. The current outdated building does not serve our committee, village staff, or our taxpayers adequately. We are hopeful that in addition to improved offices, meeting spaces and amenities for staff, that there will be a significant public and multi-purpose open space for our growing community. We support the project and see it as a need, not just a want.
I think it's good, short.
Short and
Yeah.
sweet to the point. I think anybody that's been downstairs, anybody that's seen the water, the mold, when we've had public meetings here where we've had attendance, it's a challenge. Our village is growing. I think there's a huge need to do this the right way. No, this was a voicemail technology building to start. So, I'm hopeful that we can do a nice building that our community's probably going to use for a lot of different things. And I know that we've talked about it, as a committee in the past. I think this kind of validates and is an opportunity for us to show the board that our committee's 100% behind this. I would be happy, to wordsmith the letter. I just wanted it to be short and sweet, to the point. And open it up to either wordsmithing or comment.
I think it covers the basics.
The other thing that's more a little editorial, the community our size, we have different EMS building, different fire station, and different, it's part of not getting along or just thinking of each department. And I think you work together,
It should have been a public safety building from
Absolutely.
the start, but because that's really the trend of in today's world is to have a fire, EMS, police building centrally located, everybody working together, training together, all of that, but obviously that didn't happen here. And so now we're at the situation we're at. But having the police department right next door to the fire department will produce opportunities, for that.
Is there anything we need to plug in terms of that proposed location?
Yeah, I would say that in and of itself, like being next door, because I do think everything's gonna grow to the east. So we're not gonna be centrally located. I mean, actually, probably centrally located would be better. The spot at Glacier Creek, in 20 years from now, when everything grows, that's probably gonna be sitting in the middle, but by then, who knows, you might be big enough that you might need a satellite location, other locations. You just never know, because you can end up growing 12,000 people. That's a totally different world than where we're at now, so.
I would assume too, with this building is not compliant with all. I think that would be the only thing I look at is maybe a couple of words about bringing this into compliance.
Yeah,
To take care of all.
They're-
People have access. We need access.
Yeah, that's a good point, just from a public safety.
I just think of the basics. I don't have a locker room for female officers. You know how uncomfortable that is? It's one of those things that right away when I took over, I had a meeting with Nikki and Lisa, not so much. She comes in the way she's dressed and she leaves the way she's dressed. But, I asked her, how did she feel about, and she's like, well, I just don't have the same opportunities, because she's got to come fully. She's not going to walk around, not fully dressed, and there's just no privacy for her. And she's got to share a restroom with all the guys, and it's just though that in and of itself is a problem, but she's been great, she hasn't made any kind of issue with it, but she easily could.
How about a line that we also feel a facility, we also feel an ADA compliant facility will allow our whole village I got words with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Usually I have to see things, so I don't repeat it, but I think I can definitely add that easily. I would like to get this to Jay by Thursday. So if you're okay with me putting another sentence in there on ADA compliance, I will take care of that.
Yeah.
I think we can.
I think
take it.
you could just sign it as a chairperson. I think that represents everybody on the committee.
Okay. So I'll sign as chairperson, you guys, all right, if I list your, should I list their names?
No, I don't think that's
Okay.
necessary. I mean, unless you guys want, I mean, just,
If you want the names in there.
I don't know.
Those are the names.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
I don't have a problem. Either way.
So if it gives a little punch to the names.
Oh, yeah, that's
you,
true.
you know what, I think, yeah, it might be wise. The only thing is I'd make sure you reach out to Tammy since she didn't have an opportunity, but I would think she would.
Yeah.
I think she would be in support of it for sure.
Should we do a motion?
I'll make a motion that we wordsmith the letter by the village president, with your signature and endorsing.
Perfect. Sorry.
Send that.
So I got a motion and a second, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say the same. It passes unanimously, and I will send Tammy a copy.
I'm gonna just bring up, so, part of the American Rescue Plan Act, the governor has allocated about $19 million to be shared by all the municipalities, all the police departments for different, they can use it for different things, but one of the key things in there is safety issues, traffic issues. These are just a few, but this is our portion right here. It's based on population. So this is guaranteed money already. This is, I've already submitted all the paperwork that we need and got our finance director to submit all the paperwork she would need to collect these funds. So normally it doesn't come in lieu of funds. It's you spend the funds and then show, it's like any grant. So it's a part of AARP. They're the ones housing it and with a partner of the Department of Justice. So there's only a few things that can be used earmarked for this. The list is pretty it's concise. I mean, you can't just use it for whatever. My thoughts on this is to use it for traffic safety. There are some of the, like the signs that we have coming into town. They make them that they actually collect data. So Mount Horeb has invested in some, and so they show you how fast you're going. They don't collect information about the car or the driver or anything, but they collect information like during this time to this time is your speeding areas. So if we purchase a couple of those and some extra batteries, the trailer that we have is very old and it doesn't even keep a charge anymore. It's very dated. So we need to replace that. That's got to go. And these new ones are just kind of like, just picture the one coming in on Springfield. It's just like that, except for it collects data. It'll tell, we'll be able to dump the data and find out, okay, from 2 to 6 that's where people are speeding, which would then help with enforcement. Like, where do we need to sit, so I can allocate the resources that we have.
Are they movable signs?
Yes, so they're portable. They affix to, kind of like what that is, they affix to whatever you want to tie it to. They're very secure. So I thought if I purchased a couple of, because we get a lot of requests for the trailer. And so then we put it out, like right now I was requested on Thinnes, and we put it out all summer long. But it's also consistent based on weather. These can go on anytime. I mean, so they're housed. The batteries, they're kind of like little portable batteries. So you take one out, put another one in, and it just keeps working. Where this one is like a car battery. It requires a charge. It requires it's very dated.
And there's no data gathering. on that?
Nothing, no. That one is just basically showing you that you're speeding. Well, people get used to that and they're like, yeah, well, there's no cops here because they got this thing here. And so they just keep speeding. This other one would actually, we'd collect information, then we could use our resources there and move it, and know that on the, and the other thing about it is to curb the false complaints, like they're speeding on Laufenberg. Okay, well, we can put it up there now, we'll know if it's true or not. And data doesn't lie. I mean, it's data. So these things are calibrated. There are certain things that have to happen to make sure they're working properly. And so it's just, I think it's a well use of that money, those funds. And it's our number one complaint. We get complaints on traffic issues and animals. Those are the number two, 1 and 2. So, so I think this would help with traffic enforcement and the money's ours. So I just think it makes sense. So I'm looking for a motion, and I'll be honest, I haven't had an opportunity to talk to Jay, but I heard that he was hoping to use our funds for something else, for something even for the building, but it doesn't fit that. That's not what it's meant for. This is meant for, it's a rescue fund for like the COVID stuff and that kind of thing. So it wouldn't fall. So I want a motion from you guys. I'm not asking the board. This is a grant that's for the police department. There's no need for the board to approve anything. The only time they would have to approve it is if they were requiring matching funds or anything. This is a gift, basically. We've been gifted. The sign company is called Stalker. But that's the company. And I was at the Chiefs conference and they had their signs up, and they're really nice, bright, good signs. And they make other signs too. So I'm gonna see if buying 2 will save us some money and maybe get other signs like for events and things that we could borrow out even to say, hey, we've got an event, or, the Legion's they make all kinds of signs. So I just think promoting public safety with signage, especially with bright lights and stuff, I think that's where we should spend this money. There are other things we could use it for, equipment and those kind of things, but I just think public safety, that's where it should be. And that's why I brought it to you guys. And I just want the support because
I agree 100%. That's just like you said, it's the same with that traffic safety report. Your
Yep.
report, it gives us more data
Yeah.
to make good decisions and also educate.
But educate and then the resources. Then instead of telling my staff, hey, we need to patrol this area because we're getting complaints, we can actually say, we need someone there from 2 to 3 because there's obviously some speeding going on during that time. So then we can at least allocate the proper resources at those locations with some data. So that's my thought. I just want support from you guys for that.
Well, I'll make the motion to support the purchase of the safety signs using funding the grant.
We have a motion from Randy and a second from Candace to use the grant money on the signage as chief proposed. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say the same. Passes unanimously. Future items of discussion.
I'll leave the one item and is there anything else?
So Candace and I will report at National Night Out on the signage or the yard signs. I think Bar Buddies was mentioned or an alternate.
Like how do you want me to word that? Like we're looking for. I probably don't need to mention Bar Buddies yet, but just like a safe ride program.
Yeah, because Bar Buddies specifically is through the Tavern League.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I know they're out of Sauk. I don't know how that works with Sauk. I don't know if every bar at Sauk is a Tavern League member. Not sure about it should, so we could look at Bar Buddies. Those establishments here, I think either it comes from that one establishment or multiple, but we have to be able to support that throughout the year. Or we look at something.
I know they're active in
Specifically.
Columbia County.
They're what?
Active in Columbia.
In Columbia County, so, or like you said, it's something that we can look at this Bar Buddies specifically, or just a safe ride program, especially for
Events.
big events,
Yeah.
right? Because I don't know, I don't know if we as a village have the support for something every day or every weekend, but obviously when it's village-wide events, then that's
It's a little off subject, but I always have had, you see that trolley go around Middleton so often that it's empty.
yes, yes,
I'd love it to get Middleton people out
Yeah,
here.
that'd be kind of.
that's fun, yeah,
Cross Plains people in there and back and forth safely,
it's very cool.
because it's fairly, maybe our chamber can reach out.
I've only seen it literally when I'm like around Costco, like, is it just
I've hopped on it a
around,
few times.
like Deming?
I've, Good Neighbor Fest a couple times when I first started, I'd
Okay,
hop on it.
all right.
It was never anybody else on
So
it.
I'll just put down discussion and possible action regarding a safe ride program.
Yeah.
So then who's gonna do the research? You'll do it,
I
okay,
will,
okay,
I will,
report back on.
let me put that in my notes.
I think that's, I mean, having a safe ride program is good. There's also some grant funding to pay for safe ride programs through, there's some DOT funding, and I just don't know where they're at with those things, because in Darlington, we have what's called Canoe Fest, and it's huge, it's a huge festival. It's a 3-day festival, and it's really become a drink festival. It's just, so our department would always apply for a grant for safe ride, and so that would give you just the same thing we just did with Bar Buddies.
Right.
So we would apply for the grant would pay for that 3-day, rotation of, and then the person would, apply for it and say, yeah, I'll take care of all the rides, and provide their phone number and stuff. And it was a local person, kind of like what you're saying. Like they had a couple people, a couple vans and that kind of thing, and they would just chauffeur everybody all over and.
And we're specifically looking for though, like our events. Like
Yeah, our events.
Okay,
Yeah, maybe it's something to go through the chamber or whatever. Maybe they probably have all the contact numbers. And maybe we just say Bar Buddies just makes the most sense to have them be part of,
see you tomorrow morning.
Schedule next week.
All right, it's the third. Ends up being
21st.
21st.
June 21st, sound good, sound still working.
Mhm.
Okay, 21st.
I'll make a motion to adjourn since I don't need a motion today.
I'll second.
Motion by Doug, second by Randy to adjourn. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Both the same.